This is I Like That Story, a Prairie Christmas episode number 23, Christmas Alone. This A Prairie Christmas episode of I Like That Story is brought to you by Evolution Consulting, nationwide consulting for style, speaking, and stage. There have been many memories over the years from people who have had to spend Christmas away from family, either because of weather problems or health or job. Yet from these times come some of our richest memories. As it happened, I spent my first Christmas away from home in Mitchell, South Dakota. I'm from Minnesota and landed my first job at KORN in October of that year, hired over the phone for the princely sum of $140 a week. I was the new guy, so didn't expect I would get Christmas off, and I didn't. Besides, I didn't have enough money to travel or buy gifts anyway. I worked from 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. 6 days a week and learned the hard way how to pronounce Jim Aberesque's name. That lead is not pronounced lead, and the department store in Mitchell was pronounced buoys, not bouches. I learned all these lessons from our most loyal listener, Lita. Mind you, she didn't have a choice. She was a widow who lived alone in a small house right next to the radio tower, and it overpowered all other signals. I think you could pick up our station from an aluminum chair behind her house. Anyway, from 7 to 1, she would frequently call and give me advice, saying, "I was listening and happened to notice." I don't know if I was grateful for the help or irritated at the constant reminders of my shortcomings. But, at any rate, she was as much a fixture of my new job as anyone else, even though I never met her. As the first weeks of my job unfolded, I would spend much of my work shift alone and had time to contemplate a grim, lonely holiday without friends or family. Oh, I was asked by fellow workers to come over for Christmas, but felt determined that no one would ruin my bad mood. Finally, it was Christmas Eve. I signed off the station at midnight and said, "Merry Christmas," without meaning it. Sure enough, the phone rang, and it was Lita. "Sounds like you might be spending Christmas alone." Yeah. At least she wasn't correcting mistakes from my newscast. Well, I know what that's like. And we said goodbye, and she hung up. And I sat there, alone, for a minute, for once, thinking of someone besides myself. I finished my work at the station, hopped in my old beat-up Oldsmobile, and drove to the only place that was open, a 7-Eleven. I had $3. I bought a can of cashews and dug around in my trunk and found a beat-up yellow bow. I'd never been to her house, but even I could find the radio station tower. I found a small little house next to it with a light on in the kitchen. I walked slowly up an unshoveled path, watching my breath freeze in the cold night air, thinking of a million reasons why this was a dumb idea. I knocked on the door. The seconds crawled by. Just as I turned to leave, the door opened a crack, and a small, frail woman with snow-white hair said, "Yes?" My name is Jeff. I work at the radio." I thrust out the can of cashews. Merry Christmas." She opened the door wider. She looked at the can of cashews. She looked up at me, a 23-year-old kid in a beat-up jacket. And then she smiled, a beautiful, radiant smile, and said, You came." So we sat in her small kitchen, telling stories, eating cashews, laughing into the night. And we had a very Merry Christmas. Thank you for listening. This story comes out of my syndicated radio show, A Prairie Christmas, a holiday gift from all of us at I Like That Story. ILikeThatStory.net is where you can find out more about the places I speak, the books I write, podcasts, blogs, CDs of some of your favorite Christmas stories, and more. Look us up on ILikeThatStory.net. And until next time, with music from Dan Schwartz, I'm Jeff Gould. Merry Christmas.